Okay, so as you know, Israel declared war on Iran tonight. They started bombing. I don't know whether it was their key officials or their scientists, they claim, or their nuclear plants, or they're taking down their defense, but the war has begun. So this past Wednesday night, we spoke about the chatzoitzros, the trumpets. So I think it's, I always like to talk about how the events that unfold are connected to the parsha. So we have a pasuk in this week's parsha about how Klal Yisrael goes to war. Pasuk says, "V'chisavoyo milchama ba'artzachem." When war comes to your land, al hatzar eschem, for a distress that distresses you, what do? V'harayosem b'chatzoitzros. You blow the trumpets. And then what happens? V'nizkartem l'fnei Hashem alekeichem. You'll be remembered by Hashem. V'noishatem me'oivechem. You'll be saved. That's a very soothing pasuk to read this week. In fact, we pointed out that Ibn Ezra says that what Bilam was so jealous about the Jewish people is truas melech bay. So Rashi learns truas melech bay. We have the reyos of Hashem, the friendship of Hashem. But Ibn Ezra says truas melech bay. We have the trumpets, and when we blow the trumpets in war, He always saves us. So now you say, okay, that's great when they had trumpets, but we don't have trumpets anymore. And maybe the Machon Maggid Harakiah has like a replica of these trumpets. But so the Rambam learns this mitzvah very interestingly, and I think there is an aspect of the mitzvah of blowing the chatzoitzros that still apply today, and we could still take use of, and we should take use of, and Be'ez Hashem we should be zoicha v'nizkartem l'fnei Hashem leikecha. That is, the Rambam says, mitzvah saseh min haTorah. There's a mitzvah d'oraisa lizoik, to cry out ulaharia, and to blow b'chatzoitzros, the trumpets. Al kol tzara shetavei al tzibur, for any tzara. Shenemar, like it says in the Suz Parsha, al hatzar hatzar eschem v'harayosem b'chatzoitzros. And we pointed out from the Brisker Rav and from many others that the Rambam is not just saying you blow the chatzoitzros. The Rambam is also saying you cry out. Part of the mitzvah of the chatzoitzros themselves were a form of tefillah. This form of tefillah is called tza'aka. You know what tza'aka means? Tza'aka is, sometimes people come to show. The loudest noise they make is when they fall asleep. So tefillah is supposed to be balachash. Shemona Esrei is balachash. Hashem is shoimeya, the tefillah is lachash. Rak sifaseha na'is b'chana. However, there is a form of tefillah of tza'aka. Tza'aka is shir amalois mimamakim, when you cry out. That's the mitzvah of chatzoitzros. It's part of the mitzvah d'oraisa of chatzoitzros. So we don't have the chatzoitzros, but we still have the chelek hatfila of tza'aka, which is given in this week's parsha. It's usually accompanied by the chatzoitzros, which we don't have anymore. So to speak, like the Romans took it and they've memorialized their capture, like we said on Shar Titos. But tza'aka we always have. This is something that the nations of the world are jealous of us, because we have this relationship with Hashem like a kid. A kid knows that sometimes he deserves what he's going to get from his parents, but sometimes, I think the Sefer Hasidim writes that even if a person's not deserving, Hashem will listen to tefillah just mikayach tza'akasam. So now Klal Yisrael is in an eis tzara, and it's mamish Erev Shabbos Parshas Beha'aloscha, which is the parsha Milchama. It literally is the parsha of going out to war against the enemy, and the secret power, the secret missile that the parsha gives us is v'chisavoyu Milchama ba'artzachem v'harayosem b'chatzoitzros. And it's not just like, and maybe things will happen that are good. It says v'nizkartem l'fnei Hashem lekecha. So we should, if you daven the Marav, you go home, you close the door, and cry out to Hashem to save Klal Yisrael. And in that zechut, or you could do it in shul or wherever you are. In that zechut, Hashem should answer all of our tefillos and watch over Klal Yisrael, all over, especially now in Eretz Yisrael. And we should hear B'suras Tova. Shkayach.